So if you're new to VTubing, first of all, welcome in. So I'm going to be making y'all a graph to kind of show y'all what to expect. And because first impressions mean the most when first getting started, I'll break it down into if you're a man using a man avatar, a woman using a woman avatar, or a man using a woman avatar, or a woman using a man avatar. Because until you get picked up, personality is going to come second. So just use this chart to kind of expect where you're going to start, and then insert your personality from there. So I'm going to be separating the four things I think are most important, and I'm going to be separating them into three tiers, that being bad, okay, and good. And if you ask me, the four most important things that I'm going to be judging are the click on rate, the click off rate, the longevity of how much people watch depending on if they didn't click off, and the overall support before, during, and after. So I guess first I'll start with if you're a man using a man avatar. First of all, welcome to hard mode. So I definitely say the click on rate is very low, then the click off rate is also pretty bad, but the longevity after all that's said and done is pretty consistent and good in the middle, so I'll give it a nice okay medium. Then for support, I'd give it poor support, because honestly, guys are more prone to getting criticism, but we're also better at taking it, so it's kind of okay. But once you do get that support, it's pretty consistent. I feel like once you know what team you're on as a man, you're in it together at that point. Like, we got each other's backs. And even though this looks bad, once you pop off, it's going to be proportionally elevated. So that means knowing what views you're going to get and the audience that's going to stay is going to remain consistent, especially that being a male all the way VTuber is still pretty niche considering. So you don't have to worry about fluctuating numbers too much. So that leads us to if you're a man using a woman avatar, like yours truly. Hey, welcome in. I'd say the click on could be medium to high. I give it pretty fair. And especially if you're just starting out, it's not like you're going to blow up immediately. So I'd say medium. It's definitely better than first impressions if you were just using a man avatar. And I'd say longevity, I'd say it's mid. It could be low to mid, it all depends if you can keep their attention or not. But if they can get over the fact that you have a male voice, I'd say it's pretty consistent. But that being said, once they realize you're a man, they just usually click off immediately, no matter what. So expect that even though the click on rate is pretty high, the click off rate is also going to be pretty bad. So I'd like to think that evens out eventually, though. Because the support that you get, if they're in it, they got you. We're just in here having fun, right? So now we're going to move on to the ladies. Hey, queens! So same with first impressions. Since it's a female avatar, you're going to have mid to high click on. But since you're also a woman voice, or maybe an actual woman, who knows, I didn't even know those actually existed, then you're still going to have a mid to high balance of them staying and not clicking off, right? So since the audience knows what they're getting, that means the longevity of how long they actually watch the videos will also be consistent. And for support, I'm debating between medium and low, because a women's audience can be pretty fickle, right? Like, you could do one wrong thing and then all the weird incel guys will immediately want to unsubscribe for you for whatever reason, because of parasocial behavior and things like that. Stalker problems and everything else, women are more likely to have to deal with stalkers and weirdos. And women to women mentality can be pretty volatile as well, let's be real. But initially, you're more likely to be supported, because like I said, it's just a biological thing. We gotta support the ladies out there, man. Let them enjoy some kindness before it gets all weird, right? So I'll give it a mid, I guess, but you have to be careful, because anything you say or do could probably fluctuate those numbers a lot more than if you were a guy using a guy avatar, right? So this last one's going to be a zinger. It's kind of like finding a unicorn. So what if you're a woman using a male avatar? Well, I think initially, just from them seeing the male avatar, your click-on rate is going to be super low, but the amount they click off is going to be low as well, so you'll have a high stability there. Because they're going to be curious trying to figure you out, right? Like, are you a tomboy? Or are you a femboy? Are you a whatever girl boy? But then if you're unlucky, I think it'll fall under the low longevity of how they watch your videos. Because once they kind of figure out what you are or come up to their own opinion, they'll probably just click off. It's like observing a creature at a zoo and then just kind of leaving. And that's not saying anything against the VTuber. That's just how people are, man. They're just in and out usually. So I think that would lead to an interesting conclusion in the support category, right? I think they're going to be rooting for you from all angles, right? Because you got the girl voice, so biologically we kind of want to tap into that. And then it's kind of like a woman handicapping herself on purpose to kind of test her content, and people kind of would respect that, I think. And then, like I said before, you have the audience, the ones that like the femboys and the tomboys, right? Those motherfuckers are loyal. Like, they're going to stick around, they got you. So I think they'd start a good community for you before it gets a little too weird, almost just like if you're a woman using a woman avatar. But it would be a fun roller coaster ride, I think. So I'll give it a high to mid. But yeah, I think that pretty much sums it up. There are always going to be those in between extra variables and such to kind of plug in between all that. But I think it's a pretty good rule of thumb because, like I said, first impressions mean everything. It doesn't really matter your personality or who you are, even the type of content that you make. What matters is that you can get people to click, stay on for as long as possible, and then let them reach a reasonable conclusion, hoping that they'll stick around and support you. But let's be there for each other and help our fellow VTubers out, right? Because it does suck. The rap we usually get are drama bait posts, rage bait posts, or thirst posts, right? And even though that's the extreme of what we do, having a vector to communicate with our audience is pretty fun, you know? And I think if you're VTubing, you should mainly be doing it for the love of the game, you know? So I hope y'all get y'all's foot in the door as cleanly as possible. I hope this helped blueprint it out a little bit for you. And good luck out there. Y'all have a good one.